So, hi guys, here we are, MMA UK News, Stoomboy, as always, MMA UK BJJ show. So, talking about SGI10, SGI10 is going to be Saturday, 7th of May. It's going to be at the usual place, Maryhill Community Halls in Glasgow. Now, again, it's a fantastic venue for combat sports. Obviously, we've been at SGI 9 times before, so it's always a great venue. It's always great to see the place bouncing. Everybody enjoying jiu-jitsu or enjoying grappling. So it's going to be a little bit special this time. We're going to have pay-per-view. Obviously, we've had 9 shows building up to this moment. So now's the right time to get that pay-per-view in place. So pay-per-view details are on the Scottish Grappling Facebook page. So just head over there, and I believe it's £10, which is an absolute bargain for some of the matches that you're going to get to see on the night. Also, tickets are available, so anybody looking to get to the actual event itself, make sure you head on to, again, the Facebook page for Scottish Grappling. It'll take you through to their booking system. And again, if you're coming to see a chosen fighter, make sure you do choose them, because the fighters will get some commission from the ticket sales. So it's always good for the grapplers to get some money in their pocket from what they're doing, something that they love. So my next guest is going to be on the show that night. So Shaiz Khan, the Griphouse. So Shaiz is one of my guys. When I talk about people that we look up to, certainly in Scotland, Shaiz is one of the guys that I always looked up to. He was always the guy out there doing the IBJJF comps and obviously doing very well. But he was always out there. I think Shaiz is probably the most decorated IBJJF competitor coming out of Scotland. Obviously, he's won a lot of medals. So we're looking forward to seeing him winning more coming in the future. So he's going to be up against Paul Browne. So Paul Browne, Team Rhino in Dublin. So he's coming over for the first time, I believe, to SGI. So we're going to see an absolute fantastic matchup between these two Mustangs, so to say. So listen, Shaiz, absolute pleasure, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good. Yeah, keeping well. Yourself?
Yeah, listen, doing very well. I know me and you saw each other at the weekend. Obviously, we were at the Scottish Nationals, which was an unbelievable competition. Some really good talent at it on Sunday.
Yeah, there really was. Yeah, it was the Sunday that I was there, just weigh-in station, and yeah, the standard's really high. Although it's always felt that it was high, but I think genuinely looking back with hindsight, it's higher now than it has been before.
Yeah. It's exciting times for Scotland as well, because I know that we love seeing each other going out there and doing well. And as I said, obviously talking about you going out and doing all the IBJJF comps and doing absolutely fantastic at them. So it was always great seeing everybody doing well. And now we're at a level now where the level seems to be higher than what it previously was. So the future looks great for Scottish Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, oh, for sure, definitely. I mean, if you just look at some of the things that Shea Montague's achieved recently, he's raised the bar, and I'm sure there'll be other people that aren't on the competition scene yet that will come through and follow in his footsteps. But he's just massively pushed the whole scene forward for Scottish Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, these young kids, man, I'm really jealous. Very, very jealous when you see these young kids. Because obviously, like I me, I started late. You started a little bit later as well in jiu-jitsu. So, but you've got these kids starting as young as like 10, 11, 12 years old. We talked about Blair Hamilton. I think Blair was, when I first started, Blair was about a year or two into jiu-jitsu at that point. So he's been doing jiu-jitsu for about 9, 10 years. So
he'll still tell everyone that he's been doing it for about 2 years.
Yeah.
He's excellent. Definitely. It's unfair to call him a prospect, because that makes him sound like he'll be good in the future. He's already and he's on a trajectory where he'll continue to get better for a good few.
Yeah. I'd say that I absolutely love these young kids coming through. So, and then what about yourself then? I mean, how's training going for you? Because obviously I know that you've got kids and stuff like that, obviously a family. So how's everything going for you training wise?
Yeah, brilliantly. I think the stars have aligned a little bit, so to speak, at the moment. I'm in a position whereby I start a new job in like the week before SGI. And so I've got a lot of annual leave to use up before that. So I've been able to just hammer the training recently, which sometimes hasn't always been the case in the past. You're kind of juggling a lot of plates, and so it's like just trying to fit training sessions in, maybe getting 4 a week or so. But just now being in like 6, 7 times a week, and yeah, just really making the most of it. It's been a wee bit lucky with how things have panned out the past like month or so, but yeah, it's made the most of it for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and you love training. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
anytime we see you, I mean, you're obviously you're happy with the family and stuff like that. But obviously, in training as well, you're always smiling, you're always enjoying yourself, and you always look forward to training.
Yeah, I have no social life outside of it, to be honest, anymore. It becomes all like so. I don't think that's that different from a lot of people that train jiu-jitsu as well. It's I would rather spend my time off work if I'm not with the family then in the gym rather than going to the pub or whatever. So yeah, it's where I spend all the time with my friends basically. So yeah,
As you talked about social life, yeah. Anybody that's right into jujitsu, we definitely do not have a social life at all.
yeah. But yeah, you're right. But also, actually, we've kind of got really good social lives. It's just that it all plays out in the gym as opposed to, I don't know, anywhere else, at a football ground or something. But yeah, there's not really anything that I'll prioritise with over training in terms of social events.
Yeah, yeah. And then we talked about obviously IBJJF. I mean, as you were always one of the guys that I'd say when I first started doing IBJJF comps, we always look up to someone. And obviously people always look up to people like, do you know what I mean, like the Mikey Musumekis and the Gordon Ryans and stuff like that. But for me, it was always like, who do I want to be like? Who's the guy that I can get to? Because obviously, like in a lot of cases, you're not going to reach the heights of like Mikey Musumeki and all these. Well, you maybe one day. But then obviously it was like achievable goals. Who can I be like? And it was always you. And we talked about Cogsy and obviously Gary and all that. And any Griphouse guy that was at IBJJF comps because you guys were out there doing them all the time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're making me blush a wee bit at the start there. I think that there's quite a few people in Scotland that have achieved similar, and then the likes of Shay that I mentioned earlier has just blown everything that anyone else has achieved out of the water. But there's certainly a lot of people that I had looked up to in the earlier days when I was starting out competing. Alan Love, definitely. And he's been getting back into the gym a little bit recently as well, and it's been amazing being able to roll with him again on a regular basis. Then the likes of Owen and Kieran, Owen Campbell, who fair enough doesn't train anymore, but was in our gym. Him and Kieran were kind of the first people out doing IBJJF tournaments and training abroad. Well, competing abroad regularly. Who were probably a few months ahead of me on that trajectory, but they certainly inspired me because when I saw them doing it, it's like, well, if I can roll with them in the gym, then I can roll with people in competitions abroad just the way they are as well.
Yeah, yeah. And it's always great. I mean, as we talked about Scotland, I mean, even over the years, I mean, when I first started 8 years ago, as I said, a lot of gyms, some gyms trained together, but a lot of gyms kind of didn't want to go to other gyms and stuff like that. Whereas now, or maybe not now, but over the last few years, that's changed massively. And now we're out
Yeah.
there training at every single gym that's got open mats at it.
Yeah, that's something I would like to see even more of. I really enjoyed the events that you'd set up before the Euros. Even though I had no intention of going to compete at the Euros, I went to all the training sessions, and I was brilliant being able to apply techniques to people that weren't suspecting of them, and also to have to contend with techniques that you're not that familiar with. There's a tendency to roll with the same bodies in the gym because it's like the same people that are in the same sessions, and you kind of pick the guys that are of similar size and ability, and everybody kind of knows what each other is going to try. But yeah, it was really good to be able to just roll with some different people. So if there's any more of those kind of sessions happening, certainly be keen to be involved. And I think that's a statement that was kind of a sentiment that was echoed by a few other people that had been there as well.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons why obviously we looked at it because obviously I'd spoke to a lot of different people and said, look, do you know what I mean, there's this possibility, and they were like 100%. And then obviously we put them on, and I think it was at February time. I know that COVID came end of January. There was a bit of an issue, so I think we cancelled most of January, but
Yeah.
we were able to put them on just I think the 3 weeks before the Euros, and everybody loved it, as you said. So people turned up. people, yeah, they enjoyed it. I'd say we had one at Marcus's, one at the Griphouse, one at higher level, and everybody enjoyed it.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah, it was excellent. There's people that I had never rolled with there, at all three of those, and yeah, it was just a great chance to roll with some different bodies. But yeah, if there's anything happening like that again, then anyone that happens to be listening that's in or around the area where there's an event like that on, highly recommend it. It was great.
Yeah, yeah. And a big shout out to obviously all the gym owners for letting us use their gyms. So,
Sure.
because it was a Sunday as well, most of the gyms were, in fact, most of the gyms are shut on a Sunday. So, but yeah, these guys obviously let us come in and obviously train and stuff like that. I'll let you guys come in because obviously I just stood there and spectated. I was like the supervisor. So, but you guys enjoyed it.
It wouldn't have happened without you though. So you might not have got around in, but you certainly played as big a role as anybody else did.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. We'll definitely get more coming up in the future. So, and then what about you then, Shad? So SGI10. So obviously going to be on that. So up against Paul Browne. So Paul Browne team Rhino in Ireland. So how did you find out then you were getting a shout to be on SGI10?
So I have been trying to get back on SGI for ages. Apologies, you might hear my son in the background. I'll just let you say hi to him and then he'll disappear. You want to say hello?
Hi, buddy.
Right, off you go. So I've been trying to get back on No. He's trying to let the dog out of the garden. Won't end well. Yeah, I'd been on SGI, was back at Purple Belt, so it was quite a good bit before COVID, and absolutely loved it. But the event has improved dramatically since then. It was good back then, but the standard's even higher now. And I've applied for pretty much every one that has happened since then, just not get an opponent. But yeah, I was absolutely delighted to get the opportunity to get back on SGI. It's pretty cool to be a tiny little part of history, and that it's the first one that's going to be available pay-per-view online. And hopefully that's a big success for the guys running the show, and that they continue with that platform as well.
Yeah, yeah. And I know me and you were joking at the weekend as well. We talked about the weight, under 75. We got the picture, you eating pizza and stuff like that. So, so yeah, under 75 as well. So it was there was a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people when they spoke, they were like, Shaz Khan, under 75. Like, surely not. So.
I was 76 dead this morning. I've got 2 weeks to go. So yeah, easy money. But yeah, in terms of like weight classes, in like IBJJF tournaments, I've won IBJJF tournaments at lightweight, middleweight, middle heavy, heavyweight, and absolute. So even when I've been doing competitions at heavyweight or middle heavy, I've still been really light for them. So on paper, it might look like it's a big cut, but I feel fine. Yeah.
Yeah, nah, I'd say we're looking forward to. We always love seeing you. We always love seeing you, and I always love watching anything that you're doing. As I said, I see it on Facebook, and I always enjoy you being out there and competing because, as I said, not only a fantastic competitor, but obviously a really nice guy as well. So, so it's great. It's great seeing you out there. Going to be on SGI 10 as we talk about historic. Going to have the pay-per-view. Do you know what I mean? Commentators, walkout music, and just a little bit different from the last time you were on SGI.
Yeah, for sure. It's a different kind of nervousness that comes with SGI as well, particularly if you are from one of the gyms in Glasgow. It doesn't matter whether it's Griphouse, Marcus's, or whatever else. It's like it's in your backyard, so to speak. So I can remember from the last time I'd competed in SGI being more nervous in a good way and being able to use those nerves positively, but more nervous about it than, say, competing at the Euros, where although there's like hundreds or maybe 1,000 people in the room, hardly any of them are actually watching you. And you're only there with maybe 4 or 5 other people, and they're also competitors as well. But a wee bit different in SGI, where there might not be 1,000 people there, but everybody that is there is just watching the person that's competing at that point. And the majority of them have either trained with you or competed against you or know you in some way. So things about its own pressure, but I'm feeling confident and looking forward to it more than anything.
Yeah, I'd say we're definitely looking forward to this matchup. And then, what about you then, the rest of the year? So I'd say, I know obviously pre-lockdown, you were always out there competing and stuff like that, but obviously priorities have changed a little bit over the last few years for you. So, but what would you like to see yourself doing going forward for the rest of the year?
Well, actually, the week before SGI, I'm heading down to Manchester for BJJ All Stars. So using it as a wee tune-up, get a couple of matches in. Competing at middleweight there, but it's I don't mind being a bit light for the division anyway. And yeah, then after SGI, kind of just see what happens next. I'll be hopefully looking to compete in June at the sub-only tournament in Ravenscraig or Scotstoun, wherever that is. Just depending on getting an appropriate matchup at a weight class, a belt level, and an age that I feel competitive at. So fingers crossed that'll happen. I'll take it from there.
Yeah. IBJJF in the future as well. Of course there is.
Definitely, 100%. I'm very keen to get back into IBJJF tournaments this year. There's a lot of moving parts with trying to get my wife to look after the kids while I go away for a jiu-jitsu holiday. I'd be really keen to do some of the events that are penned in for one day. I've probably gone over for Dublin, but they had announced it as possibly being a Saturday and Sunday. Prior to lockdown, a group of us had all booked IBJJF. I think it was Irish Nationals as opposed to Dublin Open. I can't remember, but we'd all booked it, assuming it was going to be on either the Saturday or Sunday. Booked our flights, booked our entry, and then they announced the schedule after the entry had closed, and it was on the opposite day. So I've been bitten by that a couple of times. I hold off till there's a couple of events in Europe where they announced that it's definitely on a Saturday or definitely it's easier for booking travel.
Yeah, we remember the one a few years ago. Remember the snow shut the whole of the UK down, and we were supposed to be all flying down to London. And I remember, like the government said, "Look, no, everything's shut down." We managed to get our flights money back. We managed to get the hotel money back, but IBJJF said, "No, you can still make it." And you're like, but the government said we can't travel anywhere, so nobody got any IBJJF money back.
I remember that one. I wasn't booked in to do that, but there was a few people in our gym. I think Badger, Cogs, and maybe Tony Blacker as well. But I had a similar experience at IBJJF Gothenburg in 2015, I think. They didn't change the day. They just the event was scheduled over 2 days. I was planning on coming back the second day, but turned out my division was on the second day. It just messed everything up. I ended up having to sleep in the floor of Stansted Airport, getting different, phoning in sick at work, saying that the flight had been delayed or whatever lies I could come up with at the point.
Yeah.
It was. I couldn't handle that again.
Yeah. So maybe the British we know is on one
Yeah.
day. London Open October also one day. So so they could hopefully the European competition start bouncing up like they used to. So
Madrid has been announced as well. Again, they've done that like possibly over 2 days, and I do, historically it's not that busy a tournament. Been over there a couple of times, and you'll get a few people in the divisions, but it'll definitely be a one-day tournament. Like I guarantee it. But I don't know whether it'll be the Saturday or the Sunday.
Yeah. So definitely look out for you being out there again. So as we always love seeing you. And then final thing for you then, Shaiz. So been in the game a while, a long time. You've had obviously a lot of training partners, a lot of people coming in and out your journey. But anybody you want to kind of shout out to? So the usual friends, family members, teammates, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment in particular, I've been really fortunate because there's quite a few people competing not only at SGI but at the Euromasters the same weekend. So there's a lot of us on the same trajectory, trying to peak at the same point. Obviously, Ross Smith is on SGI with myself, but then Cogs, Neil McKenzie, Andy Drogba, Gaz, and Rachel are all heading out to Barcelona for the Euromasters. So in particular, it's been amazing training with those guys just now. Myself and Cogs are like not far off the same weight and kind of skill level just now. So we've been getting in loads and loads of additional rounds. And that's made a massive difference. I feel like really sharp because of that, and hopefully have contributed a small part of getting him ready for the Euromasters as well. But yeah, just having a group of people competing at the same weekend, it's made a big difference, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. And then what about the family? Obviously, thank the family as well.
Nah, not at all. Yeah, of course. Actually, my wife is coming to watch SGI, so just for a little bit of added pressure. And I think also my sister-in-law and her boyfriend, neither of it who know anything about jiu-jitsu, they're coming along as well. So, yeah, with a local event, why not?
Yeah. Listen, it's better they come to an event like SGI because obviously it's action. There's a lot of action going on rather than going to an IBJJF comp and sitting there all day and watching an IBJJF comp. So
yeah. Well, the trade-off is if say for example my wife's coming to an IBJJF tournament, then get a wee weekend away in Europe as well. But yeah, it's I think the actual jiu-jitsu at SGI should be really good. Looking forward to quite a few of the matches that are on at the.
Definitely. And then we did have, obviously, we put the post up. One of the guys came in with Speedos, just saying that Shaiz Khan has the best looking beard in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Even Gary Christie can't outbeard Shaiz the Beard Khan.
Debatable. Yeah, he's entitled to his opinion, but yeah. It's quite, actually is. I usually like an extra half an inch on it, but
yeah. I saw that because obviously your beard was a bit bushier, and then obviously, like when we saw you on Sunday, it was obviously trimmed right down. Mine's as well. I mean, I come in like a homeless guy on Sunday, and now obviously clean shaven.
during lockdown, I don't think I trained. I don't think I shaved or had a haircut for about a year, and yeah, it was something else at that point. It was good, but yeah, it's not that practical once it gets caught in your gi. First, I got to take that in a little.
Definitely. Definitely. So there we go, guys. We're going to have Shaiz Khan, Shaiz the Beard Khan of the Griphouse up against Paul Browne, Team Rhino in Dublin. Going to be an awesome match. I absolutely love watching Paul, Shaiz. Also love watching Paul as well. So two absolute fantastic grapplers, very technical. Very strong grapplers as well. I mean, I've rolled with Shaiz and he absolutely rinsed me for a couple of rounds. So, so we're looking forward to seeing this matchup. So that's going to be SGI10. Going to be at the usual place, Maryhill Community Halls. Head over to Scottish Grappling. You can either get tickets for the event or the pay-per-view. So it's going to be an unbelievable night. As we mentioned, commentators. I'll be one of the commentators. We're going to have someone with me on the night as well. And obviously the fighters' music and stuff like that. So it's going to be unbelievable event. So make sure you do not miss this one. So Shaiz, listen, absolute pleasure as always chatting with you.
Thanks very much, Stoom. You take care. It's been a pleasure.
Definitely. And we'll see you soon. We'll see you 7th of May, buddy. All right.
All the best, mate.
Take care then.